Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia Martinez. Today I will be presenting my reflection titled Practising Dadirri to Strengthen Inclusive Early Childhood Practice. The Aboriginal story I chose for this assessment was Dadirri by Miriam-Rose Ungunmerr-Baumann. Through this story listening experience, I focus on understanding listening as an active, respectful, and reflective practice rather than simply hearing words. This experience encouraged me to reflect on my own ways of listening, consider how my approach to listening will influence my future practice as an early childhood educator. Before engaging with Dadirri, I viewed listening as simply hearing and responding to others. However, learning about Dadirri converted my understanding of listening as a deeper practice of presence, reflection, and connection. Ungunmerr-Baumann explains Dadirri as a practice of deep inner and create space for reflection, connection, and understanding. Ungunmerr-Baumann, 1988. This challenged me to think differently about the importance of silence and stillness when listening to others. During my story listening practice, I created a quiet space to focus on the storyteller's message without distractions. I listened with sincerity rather than judgment or preparing a response. This reflected Dadirri's values of patience, silence, and respect, helping me understand that listening is also about building relationships. I often thought silence was something that needed to be filled. However, Dadirri challenged this assumption by showing that the silence can communicate meaning. Silence creates opportunities for reflection, emotional connection, and deeper understanding. It gave me time to think about what had been shared instead of moving quickly to my own opinions. This understanding connects strongly with the pedagogy of listening, which recognizes children and families as capable individuals with valuable knowledge, experiences, and evaluations. Rather than viewing children as inactive recipients of knowledge, this approach encourages educators to see them as active participants in learning. The levels of listening framework helped me understand that effective listening goes beyond hearing words. Through listening to Dadirri, I became more aware of my expectations and focus on understanding the storyteller's emotions, message, and cultural perspective. This deepened my appreciation of listening as a practice of empathy, awareness, and respect. As I practiced deep listening, I also became aware of how easily my own thoughts could interrupt my understanding of another person's experience. There were moments where I wanted to comparison his story to my own life or quickly decide what it meant. With Dadirri, I learned that genuine listening requires humility, patience, and self-awareness. Instead of trying to interrupt everything immediately, I allowed myself time to reflect. Reflecting on my experience, I connected my learning with Mark Lovett's TED Talk, The Magic Storytelling Lies in Story Listening. Lovett focuses that the power of a story comes not only from telling it, but also from how we listen and receive it. He argues that story listening requires people to let go of assumptions, listening with curiosity and compassion, and allow another person's experiences to influence their own understanding. Lovett, 2018. This strengthened my understanding that, like Dadirri, respectful listening is an active practice. Lovett's perspective challenged me to rethink my role as a future educator. By listening without judgment and creating space for children and families to share their stories, I can build respectful relationships and support inclusive, unbiased practice. I realized that story listening supports reconciliation by encouraging respectful listening to Aboriginal voices and different ways of knowing. Dadirri showed me the importance of deep listening and stillness, while Mark Lovett reminded me that listening requires empathy and openness. Together, these ideas strengthen my understanding that inclusion is about building respectful relationships where people feel heard, valued, and respected. My understanding of inclusion has deepened through this story listening experience. Week 1 learning about inclusive practice and anti-bias curriculum showed me that inclusion means identifying differences, challenging stereotypes, and respecting every child's identity, culture, and experiences. Story listening helps educators understanding children beyond rules. This approach connects with belonging, connectedness, and trauma-informed practice. Deep listening helps educators create space and trusting environments where children and families feel their voices, cultures, and experiences are valued. Bond relationships will build on respect, trust, and emotional safety. As a future early childhood educator, I will implement story listening by making time for meaningful conversations with children and families, listening carefully to their experiences and valuing their knowledge. I will encourage children to share their stories through play, discussions, art, music, and storytelling. By listening deeply, I can build stronger relationships, support children's identities, and create a greater sense of belonging. Overall, engaging with Dadirri has transformed my understanding of listening. I now recognize listening as an ethical and relational practice that requires patience, respect, empathy, and openness. This experience has encouraged me to slow down, value silence, and become more aware of my own traditions when listening to others. I hope to practice story listening every day by creating opportunities for children and families to share their experiences in ways that are meaning to them. I believe meaningful inclusion begins with genuine relationship listening, and I want every child and family to heard, respected, connected, and valued. Thank you so much for listening.